Hey everybody, welcome to the Leek. I'm John as always, and we're here for a bit of a different video this time. I'm going to do my first takes on various cards from Ikoria, Lair of Behemoths, the new set that is sort of coming out in different ways over the next month or two. For those who are unaware, of course, due to everything that's happening out in the world right now, the set has been delayed in Europe, North America, and Latin America until the middle of May. It's still coming out online in 2 weeks as originally planned, and apparently still coming out in Asia. I don't know if that's actually going to happen or not, but I wanted to get some content going for this set. Now, unlike Theros, where I did an update every single day on all the cards that came out, I'm not going to be able to do that quite the same way this time because it is a stupidly short preview season of just over a week, which means a ton of cards are coming out. So I'm not going to be able to do kind of those bite-sized videos. We're instead going to do this where I just take a look at the cards for the first time in many cases. I haven't even read the text of most of these cards, and I'll give you some quick takeaways just so we can kind of go over what's happening in Ikoria. Now, as for what's happening with the channel, you might have noticed there's been less content lately. Part of that is I cannot bring myself to enjoy Theros. It has literally been sucking the fun out of Magic for me, with the giant caveat that that is in paper and MTGO. On Arena, the set's been not good, but fine. I don't think that's because Arena's gotten any better or they've fixed the bots. I think the bots make the set better because I think the set is a miserable draft experience. And when you have bots who don't know how to draft sets well and don't learn, it actually lets you kind of draft different decks than you normally would be able to in MTGO and online. So it's been an okay experience in Arena, but I have almost wanted to quit Magic playing it in MTGO and paper. So that's why that hasn't been around. As well, both me and my wife weren't feeling terribly well for about a week and a half. We had shortness of breath and headaches and dry coughs and luckily it was relatively mild, but it wasn't easily conducive to recording videos. And as well, of course, my wife is now working from home, and a bit of behind the scenes stuff behind this green screen is the rest of my upstairs. There's no wall, there's no door, there's nothing. And so everything is super open. Prior to all of this stuff happening, I would record in the middle of the day. I would take a quick break from work because I worked from home. I would do my recordings and then I would go back to work. My wife would come home after work outside of the house. So now, unfortunately, I don't really have the ability to record without there being somebody else here and noise and me being self-conscious about the fact that somebody can hear me behind me, etc. I'm trying to figure out a solution for that, and I don't know if there is a solution. So that is going to put a bit of a hamper on content as well. I'll try to get out what I can, videos like this, things like this, but we'll see what I can figure out. But let's get into these cards with Kogla, the Titan Ape, a legendary creature ape at rare. It's a 7/6. When it ETBs, it fights up to one target creature you don't control. Cool, fight. Whenever Kogla attacks, destroy target artifact or enchantment defending player controls. Okay. 1 and a green, return target human you control to its owner's hand. Kogla gains indestructible until end of turn. I don't know if he's eating the human and getting indestructible that way, but that should be a sacrifice effect. I don't exactly know why a human is giving this indestructible, but whatever. This seems like a totally fine card. A 6-mana 7/6 is above rate. It fights when it comes out. It's probably going to live whatever it fights, depending on how big other creatures are. Of course, this is a big creature set. Whenever it attacks, it destroys target artifact and enchantment. Could be here or there. We need to see how many artifacts and enchantments are in the set. I expect not to be a ton, but it could be a cool upside. But yeah, this just seems like a great card, probably solidly in the bomb level. Just being able to essentially have guaranteed removal attached to a 6-mana 7/6 team seems totally fine. And that option of indestructible, we'll see how many humans there are. But yeah, seems like a good card, but you know, not as bomby as some of them that I have briefly seen. Up next, we have one of my hated things about Scryfall. We're using Scryfall, not Mythic Spoiler, which I know a lot of people use. They had a bunch of fake cards posted today, and that's my problem with Mythic Spoiler. They rush to be the first one with the previews and frequently screw up like that. So we're using Scryfall. Scryfall does this annoying thing where they make jokey names about cards that we don't have the English name about. Now, luckily, Mechagodzilla is actually who this character is, but we don't know the name of the actual creature. Anyways, Mechagodzilla is 3 generic mana for an artifact creature giant. It's a 3/3 at rare. At the beginning of your combat on your turn, choose flying, first strike, death touch, hexproof, lifelink, menace, reach, trample, vigilance, or +1/+1 at random. Put a counter of that kind on Mechagodzilla. So it's a 3/3 for 3 that at the beginning of combat on your turn, you get a random mechanic counter. This is a new thing in Ikoria. There are counters that give creatures the various French vanilla mechanics, which I don't know if I ever mentioned this in the video. I certainly did in Discord. I predicted months ago exactly this was going to happen. +1 for me. Anyways, this seems very, very good. A 3/3 for 3 is on rate, and every combat step it's going to get some sort of mechanic permanently, which is fantastic. Obviously, if you get double flying or double first strike or double hexproof, it's going to be kind of a pain in the butt, but it's going to be unlikely for you to get duplicates early on, and of course later on your opponent might just be dead. The hexproof terrifies me. The fact that there's a hexproof counter that's going to be floating around is a horrible thing as far as I'm concerned. You all know my feeling on hexproof, but yeah, this just seems like a great card. It seems like an easy first pick in most packs, I think. What's the worst mechanic here? Giving it vigilance maybe is probably the worst. Vigilance on a 3/3, Everything else is just fantastic. I guess reach maybe as well. But yeah, seems like a good card. Next is one of those jokey Scryfall names, that which pew pews. Haha, funny. 2 black for a creature insect. It's got mutate for 4 black. This is another new Ikoria mechanic. So you can cast the spell for the mutate cost instead. You can pay 4 black. You put it on top of or underneath of another non-human creature. That becomes 1 creature that has all of the abilities of all of the cards and the power and toughness and name and casting cost and type of the top card. So you could turn something else into a 3/3, or you could add this on to some other creature. What does it do? Well, it's got flash, flying, and whenever this creature mutates, so that is whenever you cast it for mutate, or whenever you put a mutate thing onto it. Whenever it mutates, destroy target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls. And I should point out as well that you can mutate as many times as you want. You can have 2 cards, 3 cards, 4 cards, 10 cards making up 1 single creature. There's some more rules mechanics that make this much more complicated. It's kind of like Bestow, but not quite Bestow. If your creature that you're going to mutate is killed, you still get the creature that you're casting as a mutation. It doesn't go away. You don't get 2 for 1 or whatever. But if your opponent does exile or kill or whatever that stack of cards, they all die. They all go away. So not quite as good as Bestow. Anyways, this seems totally fine. A 4 mana 3/3 flash flyer is cool. And then whenever you do mutate onto it, or if you cast it for 4 black, you get to kill something as well. Fantastic card. Easy first pick. Up next is Monster Mothball, 1 generic mana for a creature egg at colorless. So it's not artifact, it's colorless. Whenever this creature mutates, put a +1/+1 counter on it. So it's an 0/2 for 1, which is a big womp do not want, but if you do have a bunch of mutate spells, being able to turn this into whatever the creature is that you're casting for mutate with a +1/+1 counter is totally fine. And then of course any additional mutations would also add more +1/+1 counters. Seems okay if you are definitely going to go deep onto that. I don't know. We'll have to see how many of those exist, how many you're likely to get into in a given draft, if it's locked into certain colors, who knows. Probably not going to be a very high pick, but I think it could be a little bit of a build around. It's common, which says to me that it's not incredible. Typically cards that are build arounds like this that are really good are uncommon. So I'll keep an eye on it. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be terribly good. I was a little confused by this hollow foil stamp here, but that's because it's a fancy Godzilla version instead. Up next is Sprite Dragon. Sprite Dragon is blue-red for a creature fairy dragon. It's a 1/1. It's got flying, haste, and my favorite words, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Sprite Dragon. Blue-red non-creature spells is one of my favorite archetypes in Eldritch Moon, and is it in Guilds of Ravnica. Unfortunately, it was overshadowed, of course, by Dimir and Boros. I love this archetype. I love when it kicks around, and this makes it look as though it'll kick around. Now, sometimes they do put in a blue-red spell or a blue-red creature like this, and it turns out the deck isn't actually that supported, so hopefully this is supported, but if it is, Boy, I can see one of my most wanted build around on commons right here. I absolutely love this card. I love this archetype. And yeah, a 1/1 flying haste for 2 is not my favorite thing, but the second it gets that first counter on it, and if it gets more, off to the races. Up next is BioQuartz Space Godzilla, which of course is a promo version of this promo, Brocus Apex of Forever, which of course is a promo of this non-promo version of Brocus Apex Forever. That's right, there are a billion copies and versions of cards, and I'm not a huge fan of that. As most of you know, when I make mistakes because I think something flies, I play based on art. And when I see somebody play this card, I'm not going to know what this card is or what it does or have any knowledge of what it does. I'm going to have to remember that it's Brocos. There's going to be way more reading. I'm not somebody who's going to go and collect and buy these, but I still have to have them played against me. And I think it's a huge sort of user experience problem to have all of these different versions of art and all of these now different versions of names. So anyways, BioQuartz Space Godzilla, or Brocos Apex of Forever, is a legendary creature nightmare beast elemental. It's 2 black, green, blue for a 6/6. You can mutate it for 2 Dimir, black or blue, green, green. It's got trample, and you may cast it from your graveyard using its mutate ability. So there's a lot going on here. So it's 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a 5 mana 6/6 with trample. Goodbye Colossal Dreadmaw, who by the way is not in this set. If you saw that, it was fake. Riptide Turtle, also not in the set, also a fake. So yeah, this is just a better, although harder to cast, Colossal Dreadmaw. And then as long as you have the casting cost, which you almost definitely had if you cast it the first time, I guess you might not have the double green, you can just recur this onto creatures forever. This seems super amazing, really, really good creature. My understanding from what I heard is this is not a wedge set exactly, but there is some wedge stuff in it. So it's not guaranteed that you're going to be a 3-color deck every time. This isn't Khans of Tarkir or whatever. Was that wedges? That was wedges. But obviously you're going to want to for cards like this. Just seems really good. Really good. Up next is Space Godzilla Void Invader, who, if you open this in a pack of cards, will have the unfortunate name Space Godzilla Death Corona. Space Godzilla has a breath beam called the Corona Beam. And so months and months and months ago, Wizards named this card Space Godzilla Death Corona and printed it and packaged it. And now it's going to release in the world that we're in right now. So that's unfortunate. This name will be changed on Arena, and this card will simply not exist in collector's packs after the first wave. You will never get a printed copy of the rename. It just will never be in print after the first wave is done. Kind of weird, but anyways, this is Void Beckoner. This is the card that Space Godzilla actually is. Void Beckoner is 6 black for a creature Nightmare Horror. It's got Death Touch. It's an 8/8. Cycle for 2 and a black. That means discard a card and draw a card. Cycling is back. A lot of people are excited about that. When you cycle Void Beckoner, put a Death Touch counter on target creature you control. So 7 mana 8/8. Not a fan of that. We're going to have to see what the mana ramp is like. We're going to have to see how slow the format is. But an 8 mana 8/8 feels expensive. The fact that it does have 2 and a black cycling, so if you're just not looking like you're going to get to 8 mana, you can turn it into a card, is a really nice bonus. And then when you do cycle it, you still at least get to put a Death Touch counter on another creature, which is not awful. It's something. So yeah, this card seems okay. The uncommon symbol suggests to me that it probably should be better than I'm thinking it is right now. I would read this and I would put this at the common level, but we'll have to see how it plays out. I think it's probably an okay card, but totally dependent on the speed of the format. Up next is Godzilla Primeval Champion, which is Titanoth Rex. Titanoth Rex is 7 green for an 11/11 creature dinosaur beast with trample. Cycling for 1 and a green. Whenever you cycle it, put a trample counter on target creature you control. So it looks like this must be a cycle, I assume, of big old beasts that are scary but ludicrously expensive that you can cycle to get their ability as a counter. So 11/11 for 9. Obviously, you are going to need to have a plan of how you're going to get this out. You're going to need to have a way of getting to 9 mana. I don't think you typically ever really get to 9 mana. I guess maybe in Rise of Eldrazi with the Eldrazi Scions kicking around, and even then you had to be, somewhat careful about building properly to get to it. So I don't imagine that you're ever going to be getting to this, but the fact that it has cycling, so you can, if you're just not going to get it there, at least draw a card off of it. The fact that you can give trample to whatever your biggest creature is, it might not be an 11/11, but it might still be a 6/6 or a 7/7 or something like that, is a nice little bonus. So I think I like this one a little bit more. I think I like the fact that if you fail to get to 9 mana, you get trample. Death Touch is cool, but I don't think it's as valuable at ending a game, especially for a green deck, as trample will be. Up next is Grim Dancer. Grim Dancer is 1/black for a creature Nightmare at uncommon. It's a 3/3. Grim Dancer enters the battlefield with your choice of 2 different counters on it from among Menace, Death Touch, and Lifelink. I think my go-to is going to be Menace Lifelink because being able to not be blocked by a single creature and gaining me life is going to be amazing. Death Touch obviously is going to be a good choice if I need that defense. And Death Touch Lifelink is going to be pretty decent as a defense as well if I just know that I'm not going to be attacking. This card seems fantastic, and it seems like probably the first pick in a pack that does not have a bomb rare and doesn't have pacifism or hard removal or something. Seems like a fantastic uncommon. Up next is Essence Scatter. 1 and a blue for an instant at common, counter target creature spell. Essence Scatter is fantastic. It's one of the best counter spells you can get in Limited because you are typically going to be wanting to counter a creature spell. The majority of spells in your opponent's deck are often going to be creature spells, so this is one of the best counter spells you can get your hands on. Trust me, if you've not played with Essence Scatter, you should draft these relatively highly. They're not removal exactly, so don't go taking these first pick ever, but you'll happily play a few of these in most blue decks. If you're sort of a tempo-y blue deck, it's great tempo. If you're a controlling blue deck, it's great control. Super great spell here. Don't sleep on Essence Scatter. Next is Baby Godzilla Ruin Reborn, who's adorable and is actually Polywog Symbiote. Polywog Symbiote is 1 and a blue for a creature frog at uncommon. It's a 1/3. Each creature spell you cast costs 1 less to cast if it has Mutate. Whenever you cast a creature spell, if it has Mutate, draw a card and then discard a card. So you don't have to mutate the creature. As long as it has Mutate, it's cheaper. Okay, cool. But if you do mutate it, you're still casting it, so it's still a cheaper mutate cost. And then whenever you cast the spell, if it was a mutate creature, then you get to loot. Seems great. Obviously, if you're not heavy into mutate, this card doesn't do much. It's a 1/3 for 2, which is, if it's a defensive late game kind of format, is probably fine. But if you are mutating heavily, then this card's going to be a fantastic include. I'm not sure quite where I'd pick it right now. We'll have to see more of the set. We'll have to play with the set. But yeah, looks like a solid build around. If there's more cards like this, and like the blue-red non-creature spell build around, I'm going to be very excited for this format. I guess we can take a quick aside here for my first takes on the format. It looks like a mess for paper. It looks like a giant mess, having all of the different mechanic counters. Now, luckily, they are going to be punch-out cards in the pack, so you're going to be able to punch out your flying counter and put that flying counter on something. But I'm going to have to carry around a bucket of these because I'm going to want to use them. I'm going to demand that my opponents use them because I don't want to know that this die means trample and this die means reach. And we'll just remember that this guy over here actually has lifelink. It's a significant problem of being clear and communicative in a game of Magic. Mutate, I don't really like the way it looks because I'm so used to looking down here in the bottom right-hand corner for power and toughness, but when you mutate a creature on top, the power and toughness is the creature on top, which is typically going to be more towards the middle of the card now. That looks messy. Companion, which we'll get to shortly, luckily isn't really abusable. You can't really cheat with it, with the exception of the Otter that we'll see shortly that has already been banned in Commander. But all of this goes away on Arena and MTGO. Power and toughnesses updates automatically. New counters for abilities, cool. They get written on the card in real time digitally. This set was clearly, blatantly made for digital first. and not for paper. You might have heard, I don't think I talked about it on this channel at all, but the upcoming Pro Tour, which is now canceled due to the world, was not going to be limited for the first time in, as far as I know, forever. I don't want to say forever because I'm sure there was a point where draft was not included in the Pro Tour, but for the first time in a very long time, there wasn't going to be draft. I wonder if it's because it's such a mess in paper. As a judge, I'm terrified of this. I'm terrified of the 2-hour explanation I'm going to have to give for exactly how mutate works, all the judge calls. It just looks like a mess. Could be super fun, could be just ludicrously fun, but it is much more video gamey than it is a paper card game for this set. Hopefully they dial back from this a little bit. Hopefully I'm wrong and it's totally fine in paper. But this is not exactly what I'm super excited for the future of Magic. Rant done. Let's go back to Umori the Collector. Umori the Collector is 2 Golgari for legendary creature Ooze. It's a 4/5 with Companion, which I just talked about in my rant. So Companion gives you a deck construction restriction. And if you follow that restriction, you can put this card in your sideboard. At the beginning of each game, you say, my companion is Umori the Collector. You can then, at any point in the game, cast Umori from your sideboard. If it dies, if it's exiled, if whatever, it goes to your graveyard. So it's not exactly a commander, but it's very much like a commander. So Companion, each non-land card in your deck, in your starting deck, shares a card type. So you have to have 100% of the same card type in your deck. In Limited, that's going to be creature. There's no real other way that you could possibly build a deck where they're all instants or all sorceries or all artifacts. They must all be creature. So what does it do? Well, as it enters the battlefield, you choose a card type, creature. Spells you cast of the chosen type cost 1 less to cast, so it makes your creatures cheaper. There was a conspiracy like this in Conspiracy 2, I think, maybe 1, but that started the game with you having this sort of ramp effect. This you don't even get until turn 4, so this card seems horrendous as a companion. Now, you don't have to play them as a companion. You can just put it in your deck as a 4-mana 4/5 that makes your whatever card type you want cheaper, and that's good. This card's super solid as a card that does not say the word companion on it, so don't get lured away by that. Don't think that cards are bad because they're bad companions. They may still be a very good card to just go in your deck as normal, like this one here. I don't think I would ever play this as a companion, and this is why it's not super abusable for a lot of the companions we've seen so far. So for example, each non-land card in your starting deck shares a type. If your opponent cheats by including an instant, they can't cast that instant because they would be cheating. They would be blatantly cheating. They can't cast the card that they're cheating by including in their deck. So there's actually no way to take advantage or to gain advantage of this. It's actually kind of a disadvantage to put these potentially dead cards or uncastable without revealing that you're cheating cards in your deck. As I said, the Otter one that we'll get to shortly is the one case where that's not true. So if your opponent's playing the Otter, you may want to deck check them. My concern as a judge on these cards is not the people who are going to cheat, but the people who are going to put something in and then realize that they built their deck wrong. And if they're at Comp REL, they're, I believe, going to get a game loss for presenting an illegal deck. And then the card will get replaced by a basic land. At F&M, at least, you won't get a game loss, but you will still get that card replaced with a basic land. Yeah, it's going to lead to feel bads. It's going to lead to confusion. It's going to lead to more checking. And I'm not a huge fan. As well, the first time somebody shuffles their companion into their deck for the start of game 2 and forgets it, and has to be told, too bad. This set is so digital and so not paper friendly. And I'll reiterate, this set may be amazing in digital. It could be super fun. In fact, it has so many little things that remind me of Unstable. I think I might have quite a bit of fun with this digitally. Paper scares the crap out of me. Up next is Huntmaster Liger. Huntmaster Liger is 3 and a white for a creature cat with mutate for 2 and a white. Cheaper mutate cost. I don't think we've seen that yet. It's a 3/4 for 4. Okay. Whenever this creature mutates, other creatures you control get +X until end of turn, where X is the number of times this creature has mutated. Okay, so if you put this onto a creature that has never mutated, you're going to give all of your other creatures +1/+1. And then the next time you mutate, +2/+2. The next time you mutate, +3/+3. Seems fine. Seems fine. I, having read this for the first time right now, I'm a little iffy on figuring out the play, the sequence of plays where you go off with this. Obviously, it's going to require you to have a lot of mutate to keep mutating onto the Liger or whatever the Liger mutated onto. And then to also have gone wide. So it's almost fighting against itself. You want to go wide so that you're giving all of your creatures +X/+X, but you also want to be mutating onto one single creature over and over. That could be a problem. We'll have to see what the archetypes look like. We'll have to see what else is going on in this set. But this card does feel like it's fighting against itself a little bit. Up next is King Caesar, Awoken Titan, who is Snapadex Apex of the Hunt in promo and in not promo. Snapadex Apex of Hunt is a legendary creature dinosaur cat nightmare. Yup. 1 red, white, black, so 1 in a Mardu, or mutate for 2 Rakdos white. Double strike 3/5. Whenever this creature mutates, it deals 4 damage to target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls, and you gain 4 life. So it's Flametongue, Kavu, Helix, double strike. Jesus. Okay, this is a fantastic creature. Yeah. This is just a straight up bomb. 3/5 double strike for 4 is crazy. Flametongue Kavu plus gaining life is fantastic. If you have the mana to mutate this to maybe get some extra abilities off of it or put these abilities onto a bigger creature, that's amazing as well. This card seems fantastic. Snap first pick in every pack it's in is my assumption. We'll have to see exactly how the wedge stuff works. Maybe it's a little, well, this card's too good. It's not even going to be difficult to hurt your mana base, I think. The card's really, really good. Up next is Bristling Boar, 3 and a green for a creature boar. It's a 4/3 that can't be blocked by more than one creature. It has Reverse Menace. This is from, what does it tell me over here? This is from 2020. Yeah, Corset 2020 and 2019, and Mystery Booster, apparently. Yeah, this card's totally fine green vanilla creature. We'll have to see how bomby the format is. We've obviously seen a lot of crazy cards right now, which we often see on the first day. Maybe they'll all outclass this poor little boar here, but yeah, boar seems fine. Mutate onto it so that your Snapadrex or whatever it was also has Reverse Menace. Seems kind of scary. So yeah, probably filler or slightly above filler would be my guess. But yeah, he's probably never really unplayable. Next up is Karuga, the Macro Sage. Karuga is 3 Simic for a legendary creature dinosaur hippo. It's got Companion. Your starting deck contains only cards with converted mana cost 3 or greater, and land cards, of course. He's a 5/4 for 5, and when he enters the battlefield, draw a card for each other permanent you control with converted mana cost 3 or greater. So 5/4 for 5, meh, but when it ETBs, I draw a creature for each other permanent with CMC 3 or greater. So if he draws 1 card, I'm happy. 2 cards and past 2 cards, I'm very, very, very happy. Seems very solid. Again, I don't know about the Companion. We'll have to see what the average sort of mana curve looks like in this format. It's obviously looking very Timmy and heavy mana cost. We'll have to see what that looks like. If the CMC 3 or greater is not a huge cost, I could see playing this as a Companion, because you are going to have a 5/4 on turn 5 guaranteed. That's one of the dangers of Companion being overpowered, is that you have like a free opt, I guess, at the start of every game in which you draw this card into your hand and you never have to discard it. But yeah, this could be a Companion that I might play as a Companion, and I think I'd probably just always play it as a main deck card. And yeah, it seems first pickable. It seems weaker than some of the other like clear blatant first pick bombs that we've seen, but still pretty good. Still probably the first pick. Up next is Zagoth Mamba. Zagoth Mamba is a single black mana for a creature Nightmare Snake at uncommon. It's a 1/1. Whenever this creature mutates, target creature an opponent controls gets -2/-2 until end of turn. So 1/1 for 1, don't want it. Absolutely not interested. I don't play 1/1s for 1 if they don't do something impactful. This does something impactful if you are going to mutate onto it for sure. So this depends entirely on how much mutate there is, in black and or the colors that pair with black really well. So we'll have to keep an eye on this. This could be anywhere from to probably good. Good's probably the right word. -2/-2 I don't think kills too much of what we've looked at so far, but it'll kill some stuff. So yeah, to probably good. Up next is Mosscoat Goriak. Mosscoat Goriak is 2 and a green for a creature beast. At common, it's a 2/4 with vigilance. Super filler creature. 2/4 for 3 is better than the 2/4 for 4 that we often see with Pillarfield Ox and the like. But yeah, this is obviously meant to be mutated onto, I guess. You could make something with a really good mutate ability a 2/4, or you could give something that's already really good vigilance. It seems very filler. I have to imagine this just won't see too much play, but we'll keep an eye on the format. Maybe a 2/4 blocks really well for a little bit and keeps you alive, but I don't think you're going to be going out of your way for this card. Up next is Cloud Piercer. Cloud Piercer is 4 and a red for a creature dinosaur. Mutate for 3 and a red, so a little bit cheaper. 5/4 with reach. Whenever this creature mutates, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. So you get to rummage. So 5 mana, 5/4 reach. No, I'm never probably playing that card ever. And then if I do mutate onto it, or if I do pay 4 mana and mutate onto something, I get to rummage. 4 mana, 5/4 reach that rummages and maybe gets some other ability. That's probably fine. 4 mana is pretty undercosted for a 5/4. But of course you have to have something on the board. We'll see. My instinct is this card is probably not amazing, but it might just be okay. I don't think it's any better than okay though. Up next is Fully Grown. Fully Grown is 2 and a green for an instant. Target creature gets +3/+3 until end of turn. Put a trample counter on it. 3 mana for a giant growth with trample is probably just fine, especially at instant speed. This is going to end some games. Your 6/6 suddenly becomes a 9/9 with trample, and your opponent thought they were going to chump, and now they're dead. Yeah. Keep an eye out for this combat trick. I think it's going to be a very good combat trick. It's obviously still middle of the pack at best as a pickup, and you're still not going to load up on them. 3 mana is a little bit much for a combat trick, but yeah, be aware this is in the format. It's going to come up. Up next is Drannith Stinger. Drannith Stinger is 1 and a red for a creature human wizard. It's a 2/2 whenever you cycle another card. So it looks like maybe there's a cycling deck in this format as well. Drannith Stinger deals 1 damage to each opponent. Cycle for 1 generic mana. So a 2/2 for 2 that whenever you cycle, it pings an opponent. I mean, if the cycling deck exists, obviously this being common means you're going to be able to load up on them, hopefully, and cycle a card, deal 2, deal 3. Sounds fine. We'll see if you can actually build around this. Obviously, if you are not explicitly in the cycling deck, if the cycling deck exists, you're probably just never playing this card. 2/2s for 2 have been heavily outclassed. But yeah, I'll keep an eye out if this deck exists or not. Up next is Rodan, Titan of Winged Fury, who is actually Vadrock, Apex of Thunder. Vadrock is blue, red, white for legendary creature Elemental Dinosaur Cat. Mutate for 1 Azorius red to 3/3 with flying and first strike. So it's a Mantis Rider. Did that have flying and first strike? I think that might have had trample as well. Whenever this creature mutates, you may cast target non-creature card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. I guess that's vaguely a white ability, but it feels a little bit out of color here. 3/3 for 3, flying first strike, awesome. And if you do pay that 1 extra mana to mutate it, and you get a free 3-drop, this is incredible. A free 2-drop, probably still really good. A free 1-drop, maybe not as good. Now it is non-creature card. That's a lot less likely. That's a lot less likely for you to have something. cheap spells like that are typically combat tricks or stuff like that, and this doesn't have flash. I'm down on this now. I think it's still fine. I think it's still probably the first pick. A 3-mana flying first strike 3/3 is great, and if you can get some bonus value off of this, that's cool. Maybe this really goes well in the blue-red spells deck that I'm so excited about. But yeah, I think this card is not as good as people are going to hype it up to be at first. Maybe outside of limited, of course, but yeah, I think it's fine. But I don't think it's as bomby as some of the other wedge cards that we've seen. Up next is Gigon Cyber Claw Terror, who is actually Gyruda Doom of Depths. Gyruda Doom of Depths is 4 Dimir for a legendary creature, Demon Kraken. It's got Companion. Your starting deck must contain only cards with even converted mana costs. When Gyruda Doom of Depths enters the battlefield, each player puts the top 4 cards of their library into their graveyard. Put a creature card with an even converted mana cost from among those cards onto the battlefield under your control. So it's a 6/6 for 6 that when it comes into play, everybody mills for. Probably not going to be a huge advantage for your opponent, but you get to put a creature card with even converted mana cost from among them onto the battlefield, which if you have this as your companion, you absolutely will have, assuming you didn't hit 4 lands or 4 even instants or something. But if you're just putting this in your deck, you may hit 1-drops and 3-drops and 5-drops and 7-drops. Interesting. So this card is mediocre if it doesn't hit. It's a 6/6 for 6, so it's a worse Colossal Dreadmaw. If it does hit probably anything, you're pretty darn happy, up to absolutely ecstatic, depending on what you actually got. And of course, there might be other stuff in your graveyard from earlier in the game. So this is probably just super good. First pick, I would say, especially the fact that this is a mono blue card or a mono black card. You don't have to be Dimir to play this. The Companion, I don't think I'm ever going to hurt my mana base just to get this in. Blue black, I should be removing and countering things and drawing cards and finding my way to this anyways. So yeah, I don't think I'm ever playing this as a Companion, but I think it's very good in the main deck. Next is Pacifism. Wanted to wait for an enchantment or enchanted creature can't attack or block. Pacifism is amazing. It's fantastic in almost every set it's been in. Maybe Dragons of Tarkir a little bit less good. But yeah, it's cheap. It's unconditional. It essentially kills the creature off. You can potentially blow out a huge mutated creature by 3 for 1-ing, 4 for 1-ing them with this card. First pick in a number of packs. Pacifism, very good. Up next is Lutri the Spell Chaser. This card has already been banned in Commander and Brawl. It's not even out yet, and it's banned. Lutri the Spell Chaser is 1 blue-red for a legendary creature elemental otter. Companion, each non-land card in your starting deck has a different name, and this is where you can actually cheat a little bit. Let's say you have an incredible card that's super good. Maybe it's removal or something, and you have 2 copies. You can put them into your deck, and as long as you don't cast the second copy without a deck check, your opponent would never know. Now you have a dead card in your hand. That sucks, but you also increased your chance of drawing that card by 50% or 100%, or I'm not always good with those percentages of what you have doubled your chances of drawing the first copy of that card. So don't do that, because that's cheating. If you intentionally do that, and you will be disqualified, perhaps banned. But that is where this is abusable, and I hate this design. In Arena and MTGO, the program won't let you do that, so it's fine. But in paper, this opens up abuse and nightmare and awful things for judges. Anyways, what does this do? It's a 3/2 for 3 with flash. When it ETBs, if you cast it, copy target instant if you cast it. If you cast it, past tense cast. Copy target instant or sorcery spell you control. You may choose new targets for the copy. So it's dual caster mage. So 3/2 for 3 with flash is fine. You know, I would play that card. And if I do get to copy an instant or sorcery spell, which blue-red, of course, is really going to want to do, it's even better. This probably is very happy at home in every mono blue or every blue deck, and red decks Some may not want it. Some might be pretty happy with it. And of course, blue-red's going to be very happy with this. I think this card looks very good. I'm definitely going to give it a go. The companion ability is interesting because draft deck frequently ends up being singleton. So if you happen to be singleton, or if it's not that big of a deal to cut out your second, what were the bad cards? Your second Vigilance 2/4, so that you can play this as a free card in your opening hand, is totally fine. So yeah, Elemental Otter, Lutri here looks really good. Too good for Commander though. Up next is Mothra, Supersonic Queen, who is actually Luminous Brood Moth. Luminous Brood Moth is 2 white for a creature insect at Mythic. It's a 3/4 with flying. Whenever a creature you control without flying dies, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control with a flying counter on it. This is nuts. I saw people going crazy over this, and I hadn't actually read all the rules text. This is stupid. Luckily, it's Mythic. It's a snap first pick. A 3/4 flyer for 4 is already great. And the fact that every creature that you have that dies, that doesn't have flying, comes back to life instantly with flying, this card's insane. It's a snap first pick bomb. I don't think I have to say much more about that. Up next is our first Planeswalker here, Luca Coppercoat Outcast. Luca Coppercoat Outcast is 3 red for a legendary Planeswalker. Luca, +1, exile the top 3 cards of your library. Creature cards exiled this way gain. You may cast this card from exile as long as you control a Luca Planeswalker. -2, exile target creature you control, then reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card with higher converted mana cost. Put that card onto the battlefield and the rest onto the bottom of your library in a random order. -7, each creature you control deals damage equal to its power to each opponent. Okay, so 5 mana, 5 loyalty, passes the vanilla Planeswalker test. +1, you get card draw, virtually. That's really good for a mono red Planeswalker. And the cards don't go away? Yeah, the cards don't go away. They go away if Luca goes away, I guess. 2 turns later, you can -7 and hit your opponent for potentially a lot. And -2, you spin the dice at turning one of your creatures into another creature, but it's always going to be a creature that costs more. Now, if you accidentally do that on your most expensive creature, you just would get nothing. So you got to be careful about that and know your deck. But yeah, this seems like a fantastic Planeswalker. It seems exactly like what a balmy 5 mana Planeswalker wants to be. Easy first pick, I think. Our other Planeswalker, Vivien Monster's Advocate. Vivien Monster's Advocate is 3 green for a legendary Planeswalker, Vivien. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may cast creature spells from the top of your library. So she's a Courser of Crewfix, but for creatures, there's somebody who already does that. I don't know if it's a Planeswalker. Vizier of the Menagerie. I don't know where I pulled that out of, but Vizier of the Menagerie does this. +1, create a 3/3 green beast creature token. Put your choice of a vigilance counter, a reach counter, or a trample counter on it. -2, whenever you cast your next creature spell this turn, search your library for a creature card with lesser converted mana cost. Put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. The Planeswalkers are all about cheating out creatures. Now, Vivien's putting out lesser creatures, which isn't as awesome as Luca's putting out bigger creatures, but of course Luca had to sack a creature, whereas Vivien casts a creature. +1 makes a 3/3 that protects her. That's great. I guess Luca actually doesn't protect himself, so he's maybe not exactly a slam dunk mega bomb Planeswalker, just a regular bomb Planeswalker. Whereas Vivien does protect herself, so that's very good. She has 5 mana for 3 loyalty though, and she only goes up to 4. I mean, she's good. She's obviously first pick. She's obviously very good. I think Luca I like a little bit more, although Vivien might protect herself. At the end of the day, though, she's a Planeswalker who has very good, very relevant abilities, so she's going to be great. We're talking in shades of great here. Up next is Ghidorah. You're going to yell at me if I said that wrong. King of the Cosmos. King of the Cosmos here is actually Illuna, Apex of Wishes. Illuna, Apex of Wishes is 2 green-blue-red for a legendary creature, Beast Elemental Dinosaur. Mutate for 3 Gruul blue-blue. 6/6 flying trample. Whenever this creature mutates, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land permanent card. Put that card onto the battlefield or into your hand. Wow. So 5 mana, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 mana, 6/6 flying trample is already slam dunk bomb territory. And then if you do pay that 1 extra mana to mutate, or if you mutate something on top of this or underneath it, you get a free permanent onto the battlefield. Or if you don't want it onto the battlefield, which I don't know too many reasons that would be the case, you could put it into your hand. This is a slam dunk bomb. You obviously go into the 3 colors for this card. It's very, very, very good. All right, we're almost done. We've got Gloom Pangolin. Gloom Pangolin is 2 and a black for a creature Nightmare Pangolin. That might be the first Pangolin in Magic history. It's a 1/5. That's it. At common. It's filler. You're obviously not going to play this in a lot of cases unless you desperately need a big butted blocker. So, the Pangolin. And our final card is Godzilla, King of the Monsters, who is actually Zilortha, Strength Incarnate, who we don't appear to have the regular art for yet. 3 green red for a legendary creature dinosaur. It's a 7/3 with trample with very weird text on it. I've seen this one. I've read this one. Lethal damage dealt to creatures you control is determined by their power rather than their toughness. That's not the way that High Alert is written, I don't believe. But it works like High Alert, but in reverse. So this is a 7/3 that takes 7 damage to be killed, and it affects all of your other creatures as well. So it's a 7/7 trample for 5. I'll let you debate in the comments whether or not that's good. Obviously, it's very, very, very good. It's a snap first pick. It's going to kill a lot of people. It's going to make people groan. I guess if you have a lot of like 3/5s in your deck or 2 7s, maybe it would be bad. But first pick this and win matches of Magic. So anyways, that's my first take video of Ikoria cards. I think we're getting more rather than less tomorrow. I'm not sure. So hopefully I can do another one of these videos. Let me know if you enjoyed it. Let me know if you enjoyed this style. I will hope to do one of these every day for Ikoria cards. I will not do them for the Commander cards on the weekend because those are not in the set. But I'll keep doing these for the Ikoria cards if you folks watch and if you folks enjoy it. So let me know how everything's going. I know things are crazy in the world right now. I know some of you may be in less good places than you were weeks or months ago. So I hope everything is going good with you, and I hope to keep making content like this. Like I said, there are issues with figuring out how exactly to be able to do this on a reliable schedule, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. I hope to get back to streaming as well. I super miss doing that, and I super enjoy doing that. But let me know whatever you want to let me know in the comments down below. As always, if you do have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you can find me over on Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook. I haven't done this in a little bit. You can go to patreon.com/manleek if you do want to help me out there. I know some of you have had to take away patron support because of the world, and that's totally fine. You need to do what you need to do. But yeah, if you do want to become a backer there, you can get in for getting cards from the Cracker Packs each week and work your way towards a Mana League playmat. There are a few of you who I owe a playmat to. I'm a little bit behind on getting those emails out. I will very shortly. And you can always go to inksgaming.com and you / the Mana League if you do want to let them know that I sent you. That would help out the channel as well. But if you do have any questions, comments, or suggestions, let me know. Otherwise, see y'all next time.